Who has the first question? The best way we can do it is if we can raise your hand. Well, how about our young lady right down here? Do you have a question for Caroline? You can stay in your seat and just say it from there.
What is it like to be an actress?
What is it like to be an actress?
Well, I wanted to be an actress all my life, from the age of about 8. That was after I decided not to be a choir boy.
Well, you'd have made a wonderful choir boy, Caroline.
I would have made a great choir boy, but I just knew that what I liked was dressing up and pretending to be somebody else. And as I've gone on, I've been an actress for many, many years, and I still like it. I still like dressing up and pretending to be somebody else. Now, sometimes in stories, they're very tragic and very sad, unhappy. You might have to watch somebody dying in a play, and it's a horribly sad thing. And what's more, you may have to do it more than once, because in the theatre you do plays not just once, like we're doing this program, but you do it every night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe twice on Thursday, Friday, maybe twice on Saturday. And it's a very, very difficult sort of work to do. But it is also wonderful, and you get opportunities to travel, and you get opportunities to be in plays in different languages, maybe, in different theatres, different parts of the country. I like it very much. I like it more and more the older I get.
The older you get, yes, and you look so young.
For such an old woman.
I wasn't going to say that. No, she really is. She's just had a 21st birthday party, and we were all invited to the party, so that's smashing. Now, let's have some more questions. Maybe, Chrissy, you look like you're about to have a question. Do you have a question, Chrissy?
When was your first play that you were in?
I'm sorry, just before you answer that, Chrissy, I understand an acting is something that you'd actually like to be when you're grown up, maybe?
Yeah.
You like to be an actress.
It's like, the thing is, it's
yes.
a really tough job, you know. An actor has to be an athlete. You have to be able to do physical things. You have to be able to, you have to be able to stretch. You have to be able to do fights. You have to do running, jumping, many, many physical things. You need to be a bit of a gymnast. You might have, supposing somebody stabs you through the heart. Well, they're going to do that tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, because you don't just do it once. So you have to be able to fall over so that you don't hurt yourself, so that you don't hurt the actor next to you, so that you don't hurt the actor who's stabbed you. And also you have to learn to speak so that you can be heard a long distance, a long way away. So you have to learn to breathe, to stretch your lungs so that you can take a really good deep breath to be heard.
Now this is particularly, Caroline, like in the live theatre. Presumably in television it's not necessary.
Talking about the live theatre, of course in television you probably have a little microphone like this, or you might have a man with a microphone on a long stalk, which is over there, or up there, or down there. And sometimes it gets into the shot, like it is now, maybe, and that shows, and the audience, and then that's a mistake, and then they have to do it all over again.
Yes.
But to work in the theatre, the live theatre, it's a very, very disciplined and a difficult job.
Now, would you say somebody like Chrissy, who is in, you're probably in your teens now, your early teens, would you say it's necessary for them to go to like I mean, Caroline went to RADA, which is the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, and I myself, actually, in my theatrical days, went to the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art, both in London, and we had a number of Americans that actually came over to England to get the training there, because they reckon that Britain had the best training. Do you think it's actually a necessary and a vital part to become a great actress, to have that training or not?
My own feeling is that the whole thing about training yourself up as a physical person, both your vocal, depends what sort of work you want to do. If you want to do classics, if you want to do Shakespeare, if you want to do Chekhov, if you want to do the heavy, difficult, dramatic work, then there's no question that you...
Chrissy, what sort of roles do you see yourself in when you're older? Serious, funny?
Would you like to be in the movies? Would you like to be in the movies? Because movies, maybe it's, you still have to do proper acting. You know, Paul Newman, Marlon Brando, all those guys, they all learned how to do proper acting. They all worked in the theatre before they went into the movies. Al Pacino, Paul Newman, you know, you have a feeling that they really, really know at the very bottom what it is they're doing as professionals. Interpreters of a play or a part, not just somebody who has to come on and be beautiful.
Sure. Another young lady next to you, do you have theatrical aspirations? Pass that microphone down with you, then I won't have to stretch across there, and you can interview her if you like. Yeah. Do you have theatrical aspirations? I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, is show business something that's in your blood at all, or?
Not really.
Not you. So what are your plans in life?
Become an automobile mechanic.
An
automobile mechanic.
Whoa, yeah,
I think
that's pretty good.
Wonderful.
Okay, because I have this little old sort of Renault 47, and it's got the engine kind of. Maybe you could come and fix that. That's terrific. Okay, do you have a question for Caroline though?
Not at this moment.
Not at this moment. Okay, let's find out. Put your hands up, those of you who have a question. Jessica, my daughter, we have a question for Jessica over here. What is your question, ma'am?
What was the name of the first thing you acted in?
The first thing that you acted in, Caroline. What was the first thing you were in, like the first play, or yes, that you ever acted in?
I guess I used to be in plays quite a lot when I was at school, and because I was very tall, I often used to play the man's parts in the school plays. But my first professional part was in North Wales, in the United Kingdom, and I played a character called Louise, and I was a young girl in a play about a middle-aged lady who went around stealing underwear.
Okay, that's something
That was
else.
very dramatic.
Yeah. Now, we're actually, Caroline, we're about sort of like halfway through the show, and we will certainly be coming back to more questions. I want to find out
You do some more with your kids.
No, I wanted to do it. No, I think the kids are. You're all having a great time. They're
Are
all,
you okay?
You know, we've got some great questions. You know, some of the younger ones maybe aren't too sure about. Do any of you little ones maybe have a quick little question? Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Stephen is one of the regulars, Caroline, on the show.
Oh,
Young
is he?
Stephen, yeah, usually helps with
Stephen.
magic,
Oh,
and he
good.
always comes up with great questions. Stephen.
Is it hard to remember your lines?
You bet it is. And it gets harder and harder and harder the older you get. Learning your lines. Everybody has a different way of doing it. Every actor has their own way of learning lines. In the old-fashioned days, people used to have the lines like that on the page, and they'd put a postcard on the page and slide it down line by line by line. If they made a mistake, they went back to the top. I do something different now. I do something which is quite a good trick, which several of my friends do, which is I record the part onto tape. So if I'm driving to rehearsal, if I'm walking to rehearsal, I have it on earphones, and I can listen to my cues, and then I can say my lines, and if I make a mistake, I can wind it back and I can start again. And that's absolutely terrific.
Isn't it?
And also because you can hear a voice, because in the theatre, you know, if you're just looking at it on a page, it doesn't really mean anything. Please put out the milk bottles, will you, and take the dog for a walk. It doesn't mean an awful lot until, but if you hear it, a person's voice saying, please put out the milk bottles and take the dog for a walk, that's something that's easier to hear. Maybe it's a bit like a tune in music.
Yeah,
It's easier to learn that way.
Fascinating. Caroline, tell me a little bit more about the one-woman show you're doing now, the black bread and cucumber. Now, why, for instance, is it called black bread?
Black bread and
I mean, I've heard
cucumber.
of black pudding, which is something that comes in the North Country, up over there in England. I've never heard of black bread and
Black
the
bread.
cucumbers. Yeah.
Black bread is the staple food of people in Russia. It's the most basic food that they had when they were at their most poor and when there were war, terrible things happening. Black bread was what they hung on to, and cucumber is what they eat with it. And for them, it's a sign of a very tough way of life. For me, I like black bread. It's my treat. When I go to Russia, the first thing I ask for, please, can I have some black bread and cucumber? And it sounds good, too. It's an unusual name. People will notice that. My show is about the experience I had of acting in Russia in this play, The Cherry Orchard, in Chekhov's hometown and in the Moscow Art Theatre, where the play was first written for. And so I had this extraordinary experience of being there. I kept recordings, sound effects, being on the train, kata-kata on the train, maybe the sound of church bells. And I wrote diaries, so I had this tremendous record of all the work that I did. And when I came home, I thought I must share this with everybody, so I'll share it as a show.
Yeah.
I'll tell it as a story.
Yeah.